On August 12, 2018, at 6:51 p.m. Mountain Time, Shanann Watts boarded a return flight from Phoenix, Arizona to Denver, Colorado. She was 15 weeks pregnant. She had spent 5 days at a Thrive conference with colleagues. She was tired. She was ready to go home. Somewhere over Arizona, she called her husband. Call records show the call lasted several minutes. She landed at Denver International Airport at 1:48 a.m. on August 13th. Her husband was awake when she arrived home. Investigators would later establish, through forensic evidence, cellular data, luminol testing, and behavioral analysis, that by the time Shanann called him from that airport, her husband had already decided she would not survive the night. Welcome to the exhibit files. I am not here to speculate. I am here to follow the evidence. Today, we examine the forensic record of what Christopher Watts knew, what he planned, and what the evidence shows he had already done before his wife's plane touched the runway. Segment 1. The Flight. Shanann Watts's cellular records from August 9th through August 13th were obtained by investigators under subpoena. They tell a precise story. On August 9th, 2018, Shanann flew from Denver to Phoenix for a Thrive Nutritional Supplements conference. During the 5 days of the trip, phone records show regular contact between Shanann and Chris Watts, calls, texts, and video calls. What the records also show is a pattern of tension. In the days before the trip, Shanann had confided in close friends and colleagues that her marriage was in serious trouble. She used the word disconnected. She told one colleague that Chris had seemed checked out for months. She believed there may be another woman. On August 10th, she texted that she was going to fight for the marriage when she got home. On August 12th, the day of her return flight, she texted that she was nervous about going home, that she did not know what she was walking into. She did not know how accurate that statement would prove to be. Phone records show that Shanann called Chris Watts at approximately 6:51 p.m. Mountain Time on August 12th, while at the Phoenix airport before boarding. The call lasted 4 minutes and 32 seconds. There is no recording of that call, but what was happening inside the house at 2825 Saratoga Trail while that call took place, that the forensic record does document. Segment 2. The House. The night of August 12th into the early hours of August 13th is the most forensically significant window in this case. Bella Marie Watts, age 4, and Celeste Catherine Watts, age 3, were at home with their father. Both children had pre-existing medical conditions requiring daily medication. That medication was found on the kitchen counter on August 13th when officers conducted the initial walkthrough. It had not been administered. The luminol testing of the children's bedrooms told a more specific story. In Bella's bedroom, luminol reacted to the presence of biological material on the carpet, near the bed, on the bed frame, and at the threshold of the doorway. In Celeste's bedroom, luminol reacted to a surface area consistent with a body being placed on the floor. These biological traces were confirmed as human in origin. The pattern was consistent with a body having been stationary in those locations for a period of time. Shanann Watts arrived home at approximately 2 a.m. Her phone's last outgoing transmission was a text at 2:11 a.m. Her Fitbit logged final biometric data at 2:18 a.m. If Shanann had been alive when she entered that house, she would have been the first person to discover what had happened to her daughters. The forensic evidence indicates she never had that chance. The children were dead before their mother landed. Segment 3. The Affair. Investigators obtained a full extraction of Christopher Watts's personal cell phone under warrant. The extraction revealed contact with a fellow Anadarko employee beginning in late June 2018, approximately 6 weeks before the murders. Text message volume between the two escalated significantly through July and into early August. Watts had represented himself to her as separated from his wife. He told her the marriage was functionally over. On August 10th, 2018, they discussed moving in together. On August 12th, the day Shanann called him from the airport, Watts sent a message after the call expressing frustration and referencing Shanann's return as a complication. Investigators also found that his browser history in the days before the murders contained queries relating to Colorado divorce law, specifically how marital assets are divided when one party owns property. The family home was in foreclosure proceedings. Watts was not a man in the process of leaving a marriage through conventional means. The forensic record indicates he had decided on a different exit. Segment 4. The night. Forensic reconstruction of the night of August 12th into August 13th is built from 6 independent data streams. 1. Shanann's Fitbit biometric data. 2. Cellular carrier records for both devices. 3. Luminol mapping of the residence. 4. Watts's voluntary interview statement. 5. His revised November 2018 confession. 6. The autopsy and toxicology findings on all 4 victims. Cell tower data confirms Watts's device was stationary at the home address throughout the evening of August 12th. At 1:48 a.m., Shanann's flight touches down at Denver International Airport. At 1:52 a.m., Watts's phone receives a call from Shanann. Duration: 47 seconds. At 2 a.m. approximately, Nicole Atkinson drops Shanann at the front door of 2825 Saratoga Trail. At 2:11 a.m., Shanann texts Nicole confirming she is inside and that Chris is awake. At 2:18 a.m., Shanann's Fitbit Charge 2 logs its final biometric data point, then cessation. At 5:17 a.m., a neighbor's doorbell camera records Watts loading large bundled items from the house into the company truck. Items consistent in shape and dimension with wrapped bed sheets containing bodies. He loaded them quickly in darkness, and he loaded them alone. At 5:27 a.m., the truck departs. The rear suspension is measurably lower than its baseline load rating. It travels 40.6 miles to the Survey 319-9 oil site in Roggen, Colorado. It arrives empty. On August 12th, Watts received a call from Shanann at 6:51 p.m., lasting 4 minutes and 32 seconds. He then immediately called Kessinger. That call lasted 11 minutes. In that second call, according to Kessinger's own statement to investigators, Watts told her that Shanann was coming home and that things would be resolved soon. Things would be resolved soon. On the morning of August 13th, after departing with the truck, Watts made 3 calls before 7 a.m. 2 were to Kessinger. He did not call his parents. He did not call Shanann's parents. He did not call anyone to report that his wife and daughters were missing. At 7:32 a.m., he posted a routine Facebook status. Shanann's family would not be informed she was missing until they saw news coverage. Segment 6. The interview. On August 14th, 2018, Christopher Watts submitted to a formal 6-hour interview with Frederick Police and the Weld County Sheriff's Office. He was cooperative. He was also, as the forensic record would establish, lying on every material point. Lie 1. Shanann left voluntarily. Watts stated she had taken the girls and left at 5:15 a.m. following a marital disagreement. Contradiction. Shanann's Fitbit shows no movement after 2:18 a.m. Her keys, purse, and the children's medications were still in the house. The doorbell camera shows Watts loading the truck alone. No children, no Shanann, no luggage. Lie 2. He had not called her because she needed space. Contradiction. Call records confirm 0 outgoing calls from Watts to Shanann on the morning of August 13th. His pregnant wife had, by his own account, taken his 2 children to an unknown location following an argument, and he made no attempt to reach her. Lie 3. He had spoken to her in the bedroom before she left. Contradiction. Luminol traces in both children's rooms indicate biological material had been present for a sustained period. Inconsistent with the children being alive and ambulatory at 5:15 a.m. The medical examiner placed time of death for both children as overnight, not 5:15 a.m. Watts maintained his account through the full 6 hours. He was charged the following day, after the bodies were found. Segment 7. The Site. On August 15, 2018, search teams arrived at the Survey 319-9 well site in Roggan, Colorado. Approximately 60 yards from the main access road, investigators found a rectangular depression in the disturbed ground near oil storage tank 5. The body of Shanann Watts was found in a shallow grave at a depth of approximately 2 feet. She was still wearing the clothes from the previous night. She was wrapped in a bedsheet. Cause of death: asphyxiation by neck compression, manual strangulation. She was 15 weeks pregnant. Nico Lee Watts was recovered alongside her. The bodies of Bella Marie Watts and Celeste Catherine Watts were recovered from inside oil storage tanks 5 and 6. Cause of death for both children: manual asphyxiation by smothering. Toxicology found no sedation in either child's system. They were conscious when it happened. Christopher Lee Watts pled guilty on November 6, 2018, to 5 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body. He was sentenced to 5 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. The phone call Shanann Watts made from the airport lasted 4 minutes and 32 seconds. She called her husband. He answered. He told her he would see her when she got home. The evidence indicates he already knew she would not leave again. The forensic record in this case is not built on assumption. It is built on call logs, GPS data, biometric readings, luminol patterns, and the statements of a man whose every account collapsed against the evidence. The phone knew. The Fitbit knew. The truck's GPS knew. The doorbell camera knew. Everything Christopher Watts touched left a record, and the record did not lie. This has been the Exhibit Files. Evidence reviewed, record closed.